And we are live. Hey guys, I would like to introduce you to a friend of mine. He has a tequila called Not A Celebrity Tequila. His name is Andrew, and he has an amazing story behind this brand. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a pun on some of those other brands that we all poke fun at and have a lot of laughs and giggles about. And Andrew decided to take it a little bit further and actually come out with a tequila that is called Not a Celebrity Tequila. This comes out of 1517. And I know it's not super well known, but El Luchador, which I know a lot of us enjoy and really uh, enjoyed in cocktails as well. Well, this is coming out of the same distillery, and we all kind of know the product. It's a super good, clean tequila, and if you're just getting into the market of tasting tequilas, this is one that I would probably put on there. Not only is it a good, casual sipper, but it go really good in some palomas or maybe even some margaritas and some other, agave cocktails. Agave,
Yeah.
it is amazing. So, Andrew, tell us your story.
Thank you, CJ. I appreciate it. It's a real honor to be here. The story goes like I say, way back. It goes back a few years now. I first moved to New York about 10 years ago, and a few years after that, I met my wife. And I was drinking everything under the sun. As you can tell, I'm not from the US by the accent, right? So originally from Scotland, and we have a bit of a reputation for taking down all the booze. But I wasn't drinking tequila at that point, and I was getting into my mid 30s and feeling the hangovers a lot more. And my now wife said to me, when we were dating, she said, "You've got to drink tequila. Like, I don't get hungover from drinking tequila." And I was like, I don't know. I'll give it I had been drinking that tequila back in university in Scotland, which was like the mixto that we get over there. So my association with that was like, awful hangovers and like really bad decisions. And like when you said, I've taken that joke even further, it's like, that's the kind of tequila that makes you take stuff too far, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, look, I took her advice and sort of started drinking tequila, and that was probably about 5-6 years ago, and that kind of brought me into this whole community and a really like a great, interesting area that I'd never explored. Coming from whiskey land, I never like whiskey is obviously there's a lot of focus on the barrel aging and the blending. And there's, it's the master blenders who are kind of the heroes of that game. And so to find a spirit where it's almost similar to wine in the way that you're really focused on that terroir and then that, that production process as well, like, at the very early stage to get some of those fine like details on the back end. So anyway, went down that hole and was really, enjoying that tequila journey. And it was when COVID hit that we thought, we had some spare time on our hands, and we thought, let's make a tequila cocktail in the can. And that sort of stemmed from when the city got shut down, and we'd be out sitting on the West Side Highway with our own cocktails, which would inevitably run dry. And so we'd go to the liquor store, and the only kind of thing that they had, back in those days were the Cutwaters. And it was like there's just a ton of sugar in those, and various other. Like, they weren't 100% agave, obviously, and we're like, no one's really doing a good tequila cocktail. We could do this; it'll be easy. Turns out that's not the case. But
yeah, nothing ever is.
Exactly. It's when you're sitting around having drinks and going, yeah, we could totally do this. It can't be that hard. Yeah. It turns out that you were wrong most of the time. So we started the journey on that. did it as you do anything, picked up the phone and started making phone calls. And we eventually ended up like putting a team of people together and creating this one that you see behind me, Buena Fe, which obviously means good faith in Spanish. And it's this one that is USDA organic and made with 100% agave and no preservatives. So we were like, right, we're going to create this incredible thing. And we were seeing the RTD market explode. And we were like, okay, this is it. Like, this is the future. And then, you know, all these other canned cocktails come in, and you've got Mamitas and Onda and a handful of the other ones. Those two both have obviously celebrity backers, both using Mixto. And we were like trying to do everything correctly. And, you know, we were seeing like the majority of the share of the market go to these sort of other celebrity backed brands. And that was kind of around the time that, you know, in the tequila space, you know, the straight tequila space, that every man and his dog was starting to launch. I think that was kind of Casamigos time. And we're like, wow, like this is really hard if you don't have a celebrity or know somebody
it is,
who could push it out for you. And I mean, we were spending a lot of time down there to like make the cocktails and you know, working with the teams, various teams, and hearing these stories about celebrities going down there, not necessarily actually being part of the production process, getting their photo shoots and all the rest of it, and then, you know, the fly in, fly out. And I think I kind of became like sort of disillusioned with the world. You know, I was like, we took a trip out east, and I think just to have a break from it all. And last year, and I was sort of standing there on the beach, and we'd had a few drinks, and found myself getting quite emotional. Like, I was like, everything is broken, right? If you think about the military-industrial complex, like just fueling all of these wars out east, you think about the pharmaceutical industry, like how much like underground stuff is going on there, like it all felt really clandestine. And I was like, the liquor industry seems to be that there's a lot of the same stuff going on, where like people are they're not necessarily making the best products that they can make. They're just going out there, maybe just grabbing some kind of batch product and then putting a celebrity on top of it, and people are buying it. And I was like, I can't fix that other stuff, but if I could maybe fix one thing, you know, that might make a difference. And that's when sort of the idea of this brand came into my mind. And I feel like the only people who can really sort of speak the truth at the moment are comedians, right? Like, they're the only ones who can stand up for us without getting lambasted or canceled or anything. And it made me realize that humor and comedy has that ability to sort of to cut to the point and to the truth. And so I was like, I think people would find this funny. And that's sort of where the genesis came from. And so I sort of created a version of it, and we were doing a crowdfunding at the time for these cocktails. And like, it just so happened we had a meeting with Total Wine and More about the cocktails. And we brought up the fact that we also be like, oh, by the way, you know, we're thinking about this because we created it as a bit of fun. And they were like, oh my God, that's actually amazing. You need to turn that into a commercial product. And so I was like, all right, we'll do it. They said, if you do it, we'll give you allocations to sell it. So I went back down to Galindo, and I grabbed their organic blanco that we were using in the cocktails. And I was like, I'll stick that in the bottles, and, you know, it'll be kind of a sister brand of what we're doing. And I brought it back and sat down with my wife, and I poured it out, and she was like, this is too aggressive. She's like, this is too much of a tequila drink is tequila. And she's like, this is not going to do what it is that you're trying to do, which is bring this message to, you know, the tequila drinking community who are already drinking Casamigos, Terramana, 818, all that stuff, and turn their attention to the additive-free stuff. And she was like, you can't move them onto something that's going to be far too tequila-y. Like, the reason those guys do well is because they've Americanized the tequila, right? They've made it soft palates and that sort of thing. So she, like, my wife is obviously the smarter one in the relationship. This is usually the case, right?
Right.
And she said, you know, it needs to be additive free, but it also needs to be relatively easy for people to drink. If you want this to be what we now marketed as this gateway blanco,
yeah,
it needs to be clean, it needs to be light, and it needs to be relatively easy to drink comparatively. And so we were like, okay, that makes total sense. So I went back down to meet with Rodrigo and Abraham at Galindo, and said, like, this is more of the profile that we need to go for. Like, how can we get there? And it's very interesting, like, you know, when you're there down there working with the guys like that, how these various levers that you can pull, you know, in terms of, are we going to cook because we use an autoclave. Like, we don't hide anything about what we're doing, right? Like, we put all of the information on the back of the bottle because we think transparency is where the space is going, right?
And it's on your website.
Exactly. Yeah, we like to be all about it. Just
right.
The autoclave, like, it's much faster and more efficient, but you can alter the outcome by whether you cut the agaves in half or in quarters, whether you cut them all the way down to the piña, or you leave a little bit more of the leaf on there, or, you know, if you fill the thing full and cook full versus cooking half, right? Like, so all of these various changes have a different effect on what comes out on the other end. So I basically said, like, this is where we need to get to. Help me reach that point. So we have a co-founder as well, who I mentioned to you before. Unfortunately, we can't mention him by name because he's contracted to another brand, but he's created 2 brands out of 1414 in the past. But he's extremely switched on when it comes to doing this, you know, these various flavor profiles and how you can get there without using additives. And so, you know, we put our heads together for a couple of weeks and ultimately came up with this profile, that the idea being it should have all of those, it should have a nod to those attributes that you would expect from a traditionally made additive-free tequila, but then it should also at the same time be that, you know, that sort of entry-level gateway profile that's a little bit easier to drink. So it's maybe not as vegetal, and it is a little bit kind of thinner on the mouthfeel. But that just means that it clears your mouth a little bit faster when you finish, and you end up like with that peppery, clean finish. So we sorted it all out, and you know, eventually the thing that came out of the still, I was like, this is it, this works. And I brought it home to my wife, and she was like, yes, this is much better.
Yeah.
And so we did all of that, but we hadn't got the approval for actually getting the labels and things done. That took a lot longer, as you can imagine. Something like this, which is kind of poking the bear a little bit, and with everything that was going on within the CRT and that additive-free space at the time, you know, it was slow. They were very nervous about giving it to us, but we crossed all the T's. You know, you dot all the I's, and you keep going backwards and forwards until eventually you're at a point where you've done everything you can do, right?
Right.
We were originally going to put it through. It was going to be Not A Celebrity Tequila by Buena Fe, because we had the brand name and everything, and they were like, oh, you've put a trademark in for Not A Celebrity Tequila. No, you've got to redo all the paperwork. You've got to do it under that's the new brand and stuff. So it's like second set of legal fees later, but we got it over the line at the end of February finally. So we were able to kind of push the button and print the labels. We'd already produced the tequila, but then it came time to bottle the tequila. And so if you can tell, everything that we've kind of done here is standard. This is obviously an off-the-shelf bottle. It's I would say it's an off-the-shelf cork. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But the whole idea is we want an inexpensive bottle. We want an inexpensive cork because we're trying to get that price, that on-the-shelf price to the consumer down to that point where it's like, okay, you can sip this and you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy sipping it, but you also won't feel guilty about using this to make a batch of cocktails as well. And that's and that's, so we want to be batting in that kind of anywhere from say 32 to 37.99, and feel like that. And if we can get it lower as we go forward, like that would be a goal as well. But yeah, the cork. So the day before, 2 days before we were supposed to bottle all of this up, I get a call from the guys at the distillery to say, your corks don't fit in your bottles. And I was like, oh God. And I was like, I'm down here. I'm in Guadalajara. I'm coming out to see you guys. And they said, yeah, they said, we can put them in with the rubber mallet, but you won't be able to get them back out again. I was like, that's great for people who want a paperweight.
Yeah.
If they want to actually drink this tequila, we're going to need to be able to get that off. But luckily, our other co-founder, he happens to be friends with a guy who makes corks, and so we were able to get the first lot, not turn the factory on, work through the night, and get them made, so we could end up bottling in time to get this back. But I tell you, it wasn't short of challenges to get to that point. And then the day before we're supposed to ship it to the border, we get a call from the shipping company to say, yeah, we're not going to take your truck tomorrow because we took a truck out of Los Altos yesterday and it just got robbed. And so we said, I was like,
did anything go right?
Yeah, I was like, someone really doesn't want this product getting to the US. So
it was probably all the celebrities that was paying off the cartel to take you out.
Yeah, it was The Rock. He was down.
Yeah.
But we managed to get another company to come in at the last minute, take it across the border, and finally get it into the US just ahead of Cinco, which was a big relief. So we got it up here and were able to get it into the places that had kind of made some pre-orders, and that's been going great. So we've been in New York now, so we're available in New York and Massachusetts. So New York since just over a month, and then Massachusetts for the last I'd say now 18 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I did 3 days up there when we launched a couple of weeks ago, and I did 3 days up there this week, and we sold, in those 16 days, we sold 70 cases.
That's really good.
It's huge.
I mean, for a brand new tequila that's coming out on the market, hasn't had a ton of advertising or Facebook or social media spots that I've seen, at least. Maybe you got it targeted to certain regions, but yeah, I mean that's outstanding.
Yeah, we're really actually, no, you won't have seen anything yet because we haven't done anything yet.
Yeah.
And we will do it. It's just kind of, we don't have the big marketing dollars and budgets of Diageo and Patron and all the rest of it. So we're a little bit guerrilla in our tactics. But we have been lucky. We got picked up by the Washington Post, and they did an article about celebrity tequilas, and they featured us on as kind of like the top image. Had my name next to George Clooney's, which isn't bad for a boy from Scotland, and then we've been picked up in various other kind of media outlets. And the feedback's been good. But with the sales, when we're kind of I'm going out with the sales guys, and we put that label in front of people, and they go, finally.
Well, hey, if it makes you feel any better, Sergio Cruz is in there commenting right now.
Oh, is he? Is he? Hi, Sergio.
Oh man. So I want to back you up just a little bit, because now you got me really curious, and I don't think I've ever asked. And maybe I have, and I've forgotten. I had too much tequila since then, and that story goes on.
No such thing.
No such thing. All right. So what was it that your wife got you to drink to convince you need to do your own tequila brand?
So it wasn't just one tequila, because at that point as well, she wasn't necessarily drinking the additive-free stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So we were, we were probably starting off. Espolón was kind of like a go-to. It's just very, availability and affordability, and it just so happens that I think that that's additive free as well. I don't think it's certification.
I believe you're right.
Yeah, and so we would drink a lot of that. I mean, we would occasionally drink Casamigos, like at the beginning, 6 years ago, before it is like drastically changed since, because we were at a friend's house last summer, and I was like, oh, we'll grab a tequila soda. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, I know you're a tequila guy. Let me make you one. Made me like a Casamigos, a Blanco and soda. And I smelt that thing, and it almost made me rich, because just so used to, I just can't drink that stuff now because you're so far away. So I'm like, oh, that Tito's? Okay, I'll take a Tito's. But yeah, so she got me just generally in the space, and then I think it piqued my interest, and we've kind of been on this journey of education together. I think one that we really enjoyed together was Pasote, when it was out at that Blanco out of 1579.
Yeah, very good one.
Yeah, that was for me, I think for me, that's one where I drank that and I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. But I with the research, I got into using Tequila Matchmaker from a very early part of that journey. So big shout out to Grover and Scarlett for that, because it's such an incredible tool that I was buying a Fortaleza Reposado, 4 years ago, before every man and his dog was banging on about it, for $65 here in the city. It was incredible.
Yeah. Now you can hardly find it. I mean, you have to know somebody in the spirit world to even get your hands on a winter blend.
Yeah.
And if you don't, there's virtually no chance of getting your hands on some of it.
Oh, 100%. I was one of the places I stopped by in Mass the first week, he pointed up to his top shelf. He's like, oh, I've got the winter blend up there if you want it. I said, how much? He said, $350.
Was this last year?
No, this is it's last year's winter blend. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That one definitely have a price increase, but there was lower quantities produced. So yeah, everybody and their brother was fighting over that thing. I didn't quite pay that much, but you're on the East Coast, so they figure you guys got more money. So
yeah,
I'm just here in the Midwest.
Yeah, that's what I need to do, is come down there to do my shopping.
Yeah, there you go. So and we all, at least I think we all know the George Clooney story. It was him and I think 3 of his friends that went, and they had a place down there in Mexico, and they wanted to find a tequila they all could drink, that nobody would get a hangover over, which I can testify. Back in the day,
Yeah.
yeah, it was that status, and and then of course, when he sold the brand, and he's still collecting royalties off the gig.
Could be worse, right?
Yeah, I don't know how much, but yes. And I actually have a couple of the old bottles still laying around the house, that I haven't broken open yet, and maybe one day for giggles I'll open them up and get into them. But yeah, I mean, when you sell it for, you create a company for a few $100,000 and you end up selling it for $1 billion.
I mean,
with some royalties. He walked away smiling on that gig. I'm sure he did.
He did, especially when you look at the Nielsen numbers from Q1 this year. They are down. Like Casamigo sales are down sort of 7-8%. People, I think, they're out there. They're certainly becoming wiser. Consumers are becoming wiser. The availability of information, to choose better tequilas is out there, but also the selection is out there, and it's improving. When you're doing the job that I do, you go and visit a lot of stores, and we're starting to see, more and more of these stores are carrying a great, much better selection of additive-free tequilas, seeing more of G4 out there. Don Fulano is like popping its head up more regularly, but definitely like a lot of G4, a lot of El Tesoro, certainly here in the Northeast. I'm sort of turning up to these places, and I'm like, damn, I'm like, Lalo's there, Ocho's there. I'm like, obviously, I'm a little later to the game, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily competing for the guy who's already drinking that stuff.
Right. But if you really think about it, Lalo's probably only been going at it maybe 3 years now.
Yeah.
And he's still just popping up in regions, and he's not a celebrity, so he may have a fighting chance.
He's a celebrity, I think, in our now, for sure. Because I'll take during that COVID period, I was working down in Austin before I gave up my full-time gig. I was in real estate, and I was selling. There's the W Hotel down there has a music venue attached to it, so I was like working on this deal down there, which was great fun, obviously. But I was hanging out in Austin a lot, and that's obviously where that was the main jumping off point for where the brand launched, because a lot of the investors were spending time down there. So like everywhere you went had Lalo, and I was like, what is this? I've never heard of this before. And I, you taste it, and you're like, wow, this stuff is fantastic. It's a great sipper, and again, it's priced to go well in cocktails, and it comes through nicely in cocktails as well. And the design and the branding is beautiful. Like, I love that bottle as well. It's like
it's very simplistic, easy, not oversaturated with marketing. It's just super clean.
Exactly.
It's awesome. Yes, I agree.
The blue and the gold, like their boxes, their blue and white boxes, like that was kind of like one of the reasons why I was like, I like the idea of doing the blue and white. But having another insider trick that I was told by a friend who is part of a family who owns liquor stores is having pretty colored boxes, you're more likely to get a bigger order, because the liquor store will put your boxes on the floor. If the boxes look nice and they're done to a nice standard, they'll stack them. They're more likely to take more and stack them than if they're saying, well, I don't necessarily want those monstrosities like sitting there. So we like the Lalo boxes is very nice as well. So there's a certain part of the merchandising that you have to think about. But we were also like, I don't want to put any more colors on this. I don't want to make it glossy. I'm trying to make it as inexpensive as possible, so we can make this product on the shelf as affordable as possible for people coming in and wanting to, again, start that journey before they go into the more expensive ones, more expensive bottles. So it's been very much like take a lot of the lessons that we learned from here and then try and apply them to this to make it much more successful.
Absolutely. Have you compared yours side by side with Lalo? Now you got me curious.
I have, yeah. So I would say like Lalo it's got a bit more of a rounded mouth feel to it, and I would say you've got some more grass, some more vegetal to it. Maybe not quite as much pepper. I mean, from people who drink ours and compare it to others, they say we've maybe got a similar profile to to more like an ocho with that sort of pepper. I don't know what your thoughts are about it. I mean, we don't necessarily have the same.
It's been a while since I've had a Ocho Blanco. I'll have to give that a try and let you know my thoughts on that one. But yeah, I can maybe pick that up.
Yeah,
there's maybe a little bit more oilier where it lasts a little bit more longer on the back end.
Yeah,
I could probably go with that from what memory recalls.
Yeah, exactly. It's always fun like to try and remember what something tastes like, but it's when you go back and you open one up and you have a smell and you have a taste that those senses take you back to like when you had those. Because I remember the first time having Ocho was actually when working on Buona Fe, was with it was lunch with some guys down in Arandas. Sergio Cruz happened to be there as well, and we started drinking this stuff. I was like, oh, it's fantastic. We got for a couple of bottles that day, so it was good fun.
Awesome. Well, and FYI for your marketing, blue means trustworthy. A lot of people associate blue with trustworthy. So, I mean, you picked some really good colors there to help assure everybody that you're trustworthy.
I think, well, that's sort of the goal with this, right? Like I mentioned before how I was disillusioned with what I found in the space. My naivety led me to believe that everybody else would want to make the best possible product and make it at an affordable price. And then, you hear stories about people who know their product's not that good. So rather than make their product better, they take a marketing course and make their packaging a lot better, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something that I believe was right, which was try and create like the best possible product for the best price. And like, I'm not here to like price gouge or anything. Like when we can make some more savings, we'll try and get that price down, because we think to have a tequila like this at that kind of entry level price with the profile, I think it's a great option for people to be able to grab a bottle of. And then it's also like, it's just fun as well with the brand, I think. Brand name.
Yeah, with the little pun and everything. And honestly, with and I keep thinking, with the at least in I'm going to say the league of people who are generally searching tequila matchmaker, who wants to know more about their tequila. They don't want to have anything to do with a celebrity tequila.
Exactly.
And I don't know why a distillery would want to get behind it. Now, I mean, you got The Rock. I mean, man, he's killing it, and he's doing a phenomenal job in sales and.
He's out there pushing and doing the hard work. Granted, but then he's on the one hand he's saying, "Hey, my tequila's small batch," and then on the other hand he's saying, "Hey, we did 1 million cases last year." It's like, which one is it?
And we drove by when we were going from Siete Loyas back to Arandas. We drove right by the new distillery that they're building for Terramana. And I was just like, holy crap, what is that? And he's like, "Oh, that's Terramana," and it's just gigantic. So I mean, if they're producing 100,000 or a million, I mean, they're going to double that next year.
I don't doubt it. I mean, he's got a big following.
Yes.
He's putting in the work. I mean, there's a lot of celebrity brands where those guys, like, they don't actually go and do anything to assist push. And I think some of those ones, they're dying. And when you talk to the liquor store owners, like, hey, what do you think of this? And they're like, oh yeah, great when it started, but they don't do anything now. And so laying off people, or now we're trying to discount this to just free up shelf space and get other stuff in that moves. But it's a tough. There's a lot of competition, right?
Yeah, there is.
There's a ton of brands out there, and then you've got the ones which are celebrity backed. You've got the ones which are actually, hey, we're brands who are trying to make a really good tequila, and it's great to see that share of the market grow. Great to see that that additive-free share of the market grow, and the amount of shelf space that's being given up to the guys who have been doing things properly for a long time. Nice to see them kind of finally getting that attention. The work that the guys like Grover and Scarlett done, it's been incredible for getting the light shone onto those brands.
Yeah. No, I mean, they are due a lot of credibility for what they have done with their app, and shouting from the top of the mountain, letting everybody know, and they don't care who's listening. They're due a big pat on the back for what they have done. And now look at, I mean, now they won't go back home, and they're trying to figure that all out. And was it last week or the week before they announced that there may be a new tequila?
Another regulatory authority to fit alongside CRT,
which is going to be huge, because now that there's options. It's like when the cable company or the TV company comes into the market, and here we only had Comcast for the longest time, and the government wouldn't let anybody else in the market. They basically sold them the rights to sell it, and then the price kept on going up, and then somebody else came in. I think it was Google Fiber came in with their Google TV, and then prices just started tanking left and right, and then boom, here we are. Now we got two people to work with, and I hope that
the hope is that they're better.
Yeah.
The danger is, what if they're worse?
Right? Yeah. You are taking that gamble, but I would hope with everything that has been presented, and some of the really bad feedback that not only through Grover but also through news channels and everything else, especially down in Mexico, that they wouldn't go down that path. Hopefully they'll bring better opportunities.
Yeah, I think so. I think they wouldn't necessarily be doing something like that if they didn't see an option to improve. Kind of the hope is that's why people do these things. I mean, what happened with Grover and Scarlett obviously was a travesty. It's just tough that there's obviously so much at stake in this space. There's a lot of people's livelihoods on both sides. But it just makes you nervous a little bit. We dropped our sample off to be certified the day before their house got raided, which was bad timing on our part, but obviously very unlucky for them. One of the reasons we like working with Galindo is they saw the benefit of being certified, and they had the distillery certified as additive-free on Tequila Matchmaker, and a lot of their own brands as well. They got certified too.
No, pretty Pretty phenomenal little place there. With El Luchador, which I've had some of their blancos before, and I enjoy it. And the one that's eluded me so far that everybody says you have to try is the Repo.
Oh, the Repo. Yeah, the Repo is fantastic as well.
Yeah, and I just can't seem to get it anywhere I've gone so far, and hopefully one day I'll stumble upon a bottle of it. And
I'll cross the Hudson for you, CJ, because they have it in Jersey. I've seen it over there. So if I come across a bottle, if I'm over there in the next couple of weeks, I'll pull one for you and send it down.
I would greatly appreciate that.
Yeah.
So speaking of other expressions, can we see other expressions coming out of Not A Celebrity Tequila?
I think so. Like I would very much like to get a Repo out there. It's something that the market likes. People who are drinking tequila are leaning towards the Repos, and I feel like there's an even bigger difference between an additive-free Reposado and an additive-laden Reposado, and I feel like that education is something that would be a good focus for people to and draw their attention to it with our brand, right? Because Casamigos Reposado is one that's like very, very vanilla-y and caramel.
Yeah.
But I think for us, it's something that it's going to be. We want to get it right. We have some nice cooked agave on the nose, but it's making sure that because we don't have because we're not fermented with fibers, you don't get obviously as that thicker amount of cooked agave, that we don't want to lose too much of it to barrel aging. We don't want to lose what we've got. So we're probably going to start that exercise in July and try and see the route that we want to go down to make sure that we come up with something that is going to do justice to a Reposado, and then also kind of call out the difference between an additive full Repo and something that's not. But also, again, I think we would like it to be in that gateway space.
Mm-hmm.
And so something that a good intro one that's because I think a little like some barrel aging with this, like I've used some oak sticks and stuff in this already, and it's quite fun to play that game and see which way you would like to go, because it does make this, which is what is almost a smooth blanco on even easier to drink. I think it could be fun. I think it could be fun for people. But Repo definitely next, and then after that, I think we'll play it by ear and see how everything's going. The blanco has just been so well received.
I would agree with even a few of the things when I did the posts about you coming online and stuff like that. People were commenting to me and giving it an applause and commenting really nicely about the price point. It is a super clean, fresh tequila that you really sit down and enjoy and not wake up with that hangover that we're all trying to avoid.
That's the goal, right?
Absolutely.
It's like do you remember within the last, it was like 5 years ago, with it's the hacking videos that were all really popular on like how to hack your blue egg and cook your meats that way. This is how to hack drinking, is to find a nice clean expression that's not gonna wake you up with an awful hangover at the end of the day.
And that's the only thing that I'll give Casamigos, is back in the day when they had it, they kind of, publicly announced, hey, you can drink this and not get a hangover. Yeah. And then, it brought everybody, what? No, you can't. And then, man, I tried.
Yeah, challenge accepted.
yeah, most definitely. I tried. I take full liter bottles down to the lake, and in a couple of days we'd have them gone. And
that's the thing. Like it was good in the beginning.
Yes, it was, and similar to what you have. I mean, it is just a easy drink, non-complicated, tons of, I'm going to say, citrus, and a little bit of fruits, and it's just not overly complicated to where you have to wonder if there's some additives in here.
Yeah,
it's just a nice little. It's a great little sipper.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate the feedback, because that was the goal, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it was to create something where people could pick it up and go, okay, it's not overly complicated, but I can taste this, I can taste this, and I don't, it doesn't stick to my mouth. I don't know if you've ever done the test with some tequilas where you put a drop in your hands and you rub it together.
Yes, and see if you can create that sugar to get sticky and let you know you don't have something good in your hands.
Exactly. Like with this, it's great. You put it in your hands, you wipe that, and then it's gone dry and clean. And so that's what we wanted. We wanted it to be clean and fresh, not overly complicated. There's time to move on to the more complicated tequilas in the future for people when they kind of make that journey, and we don't want to be competing with them. I mean, we do want to potentially do something with the Bonafide brand in the future. So we have talked to the guys out at El Mexicano, who were obviously originally part of the Herradura family back in the day. Oh, sorry, Cazadores family back in the day, about a project that we want to do in the future, which would be, maybe something a little bit more complex, because they've got a great operation out of there, and that El Mexicano stuff is just delicious.
No, without a doubt. I just find that this would be great for a ranch water.
100%. That's what my wife drinks with it all the time.
A ranch water, because you really, you're getting that minerally taste from the water, and with this, to still be able to taste the citrus notes and the agave in it, it'd be perfect. And it's not overly peppery to where you're scraping the back of your tongue.
Yeah.
I think that would be perfect. In fact, I may make one tonight.
Awesome. I agree with you 100%. Like the ranch water is my wife's favorite. Like that's her go-to, and she loves it with this. And it is, people, you like a ranch water because it's what you want on a really hot day, a really refreshing cocktail. And sometimes you don't necessarily want it to be too green, too grassy. So it's quite good to have that little bit of pepper. It does work well, the citrus and the sweetness. So I would recommend you try that and let me know how it goes down.
I will, bud. So primarily, I see your product available based off of the information I'm seeing on your website. You're primarily on the East Coast right now.
Correct. So right now we are New York and Massachusetts, and I need to update the map that shows where we are, because we've obviously taken on a ton of locations in the last few weeks, and there's always a bit of a delay in getting those from the distributor. But I'll throw them up there. We're available to 47 of the lower 48 states, just via direct to consumer. Sorry, Utah, but you guys have some strict rules apparently. But we are available via our website to most places, and obviously we're going to talk about offering a discount to your your members for that. We'd obviously love to get a discount code out to them, so as many of them can try it as possible and see what they think.
Yeah, I hope they all take you up on the opportunity of saving a little and getting to try it as well. I mean, it is a really, really good sipper. Yeah, what ranch water? I don't know why it just dawned on me. I guess I've been sitting here long enough to sipping on this. It's like, man,
the best ideas come to us after a few drinks. That's
yeah, for sure. So you say you're moving into other states, or
yes? So we're in conversation at the moment with some distributors talking about Texas, California, Florida, and then potentially some of the control states on the East Coast as well. We have to bottle up the remainder of our first production to make sure we can deal with all of that, because it turns around. I mean, the product turns pretty quickly, and so we don't want to necessarily open a market without being able to fulfill it properly. I did a tasting here at Union Square Wine and Liquors last Saturday, and I think we did 3-hour tasting, and we sold 12 bottles. And that's, people obviously they're drawn into the brand a little bit, but as soon as they taste the liquid, they're like, oh, fantastic. And I said to the guy who runs the store, I said, how many bottles do you normally do? He said, we normally do 6 in spirits, and tequila especially, we normally do 6 in that time. So we hit double his number, and so I want to make sure when we do open a new market that we can we can service it properly. We can give it the attention. The distributors need the attention as well. They need you to join them for the ride-alongs, for the sales, for the tastings. It's huge. Like, liquid to lips is such a big part of this business. For a guy who was in real estate before, it's been a baptism of fire, and you're trying to learn as much as you can about the other side of the bottle, the non-drinking end of the bottle. And like, one of the things is that, products where people get to taste it, that's the game changer. You can throw as many advertisements as you want on social media, but until somebody tastes it and goes, oh wow, that's really good, that's the tipping point. And so you could open a market, you can send your product in there, you'll have a great sales team, you give them a promotion, they'll get as many of your bottles on the shelves as possible. But if no one knows about it or has tasted it, then it can sit there for a very long time, especially if it's like in that sort of $40 to $60 range, right? That's a very busy space at the moment. So we want to be able to make sure that we're giving the support to the liquor stores and to the distributor by putting that effort in to being able to do all of those tastings, and so it's a combination of, like, yes, we want to open as many states as quickly as possible because it's great, but at the same time it's like rifle shot rather than shotgun is kind of effective, and that's why we have the online thing, because it's sort of there for the people who hear about it, and if say there's enough people in one state who are making enough noise to say, hey, we really want this over here, then that's useful for us, because we can go to a distributor and say, hey, look, we're selling all of this in Kentucky. We've got this guy down there who's buying a load of it. Like, can we come and open up that market? Would you be interested? And all of those successes help, right? It's especially now that there's over 3,000 brands available. It's, if you're doing something in this space, it has to be almost unique in a way. I like to think that the brand and the positioning, with this being like that gateway profile and the price point, I think we've carved ourselves out a little bit of a niche there. Because, I mean, even though there are some tequilas I think that people would move on to after this that are less expensive, you can get depending on where you buy your aretes or your tapatio's, those I think are great. Like those are incredible tequilas at a great price. But I feel like this would be a good intro to those.
Yeah.
So we do have that sort of little area, I think, kind of carved out, because we know what we are, and more importantly is we know what we're not, right? When we're not a G4, and we're not a Don Fulano or a Fortaleza, and that's not the point. If we get enough people in an area who think, yeah, this is a great idea, we would love to support it, because we've got a few restaurants and bars who think this is incredible. They love it. They just want it on the back bar, because they feel the conversation starter with the label is a great way to launch, to open that discussion, right? Like we put this in the first bar in the West Village here in New York, and I was in there like the day after having a drink at the table with some friends, and I heard a couple at the bar being like, "Not a Celebrity Tequila? Like, what is that?" It's like that's all we wanted to do. We want to start the conversation so people have the opportunity to learn, because we're already in the chat rooms, we're already on Facebook, in the Reddit groups, we're talking amongst ourselves in this echo chamber almost, and it's the people who aren't here, like, how do we reach them? And I feel like this on a back bar is a good way to.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of reminds me of way back in the day when I was much younger and driving those little rice rockets. I had a Katana.
Oh.
And the nickname for that bike was Can of Tuna.
Why is that?
I just play on names, I guess. And so to take the joke a little bit further, I had a decal made of Charlie the Tuna, and I so I was beating them to the punchline, but everybody remembered, oh yeah, okay.
It's that's it. That's why you're in marketing, right?
Yes. So it was fun, and yeah, at first I was like, "What? A Celebrity Tequila?" But yeah. After you drill into it for a while and think about it, it's actually pretty ingenious, and it's like you're almost making fun of yourself, so you're not leaving anybody any opportunity to poke fun at you anymore.
That's it. Yeah.
And people remember those goofy things. And
I think so.
Yeah. So it's hilarious. So tell me what we're going to do on the group, far as, have you put plan together for, what kind of promotional deal you do?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, we're going to do a 10% discount on the bottle. And so that'll, like, it's on our website at the moment for $40. It'll bring it down to 36.
Okay.
And so we'll give you guys a code for that. And we'll probably run that for a few months, I think, like, for the members. And
awesome.
I think it's like, I think a lot of people in the group will have friends who, they're trying to educate and bring into the space. Like, it's a great bottle if you've got a friend who's like, oh, I'm not a tequila drinker, it's a good one for them to start on. Like, I have the number of places that I've gone into over the last couple of months, and people go, yeah, I don't drink tequila. I'm like, just give this a try.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, actually, that doesn't burn. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. Like, it's not all bad, right?
Yeah.
So we'll get that out to you today. Like, after this call, I'll give you the code for that, and then you can send it out to the crew. And we'd love to hear some feedback and thoughts. We have Instagram and Facebook and that kind of stuff, so we can send you all of those. And people can let us know what they think. They can let me know how crazy I am.
Somebody from Scotland who's making tequila, who was a real estate agent.
Yeah, he's picking a fight with The Rock.
Yeah. Yeah, and Michael Jordan.
Yeah, exactly.
We
Yeah,
gotta throw him in there.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was we got a. So I don't know if you've ever read anything like. So there's a journalist, Jonah Flicker, who writes for kind of the Rob Report, Esquire, and a few others. He reviewed ours, and he said, This is better than all of these," and then he lists like 5 dealers. I was like,
wow, he just got dropped off a lot of Christmas card lists.
yeah, exactly. But I appreciated that. Yeah, so it's nice. It's nice to hear the feedback. Like, it's nice to hear that feedback, and it's even nicer to hear it when you're out in the field,
Yeah,
talking to people, and they go, "Wow, this is I get what you're doing, and I really like it." And yeah, we're going to find you some space on the shelf for it. But the best reaction is when you put it in front of people. Is that first like laugh that they get in there, like, finally, it's about time.
yeah. Okay, so there's the end of the joke. Where do we start from here?
Yeah. I tell you, now that we're talking about this, I'll tell you what we need to do. We need to create a counter for our website that sits in the corner that counts the number of celebrity tequilas. Every time there's a new one launched, it clicks over. I think Megan Thee Stallion's just launched a new one. So.
I don't get it. I mean, very few of them are doing anything additive free. The thing's just loaded with, all kinds of stuff. And why? I mean, the market's already saturated with those type of tequilas. 818 right now. I think. I mean, I'm not going to say it. Somebody will get mad at me, but I mean, it has to be at the bottom of the list. That's about the most pleasant way I could think of saying it. And yet I still see it on the shelves.
There's a lot of deep discounts on that, and the feedback from talking to liquor store owners is it's not moving. A lot of it is not moving the way they would like it to move. I mean, I saw a Facebook advertisement came up on, and you may have seen the same one. It was a law firm asking if I'd ever bought 818. And so I was like, well, I haven't, because, it's not my style.
Yeah.
But I called them anyway, and I was like, hey, I'm curious, like, what's going on with this? And they were like, oh, it's a class action suit. And I was like, are you taking a class action suit about the fact that they're misrepresenting their product being 100% agave? And the guy was like, yes. I was like, because there's like so many additives in there. So whether or not anything's going to come from that, they're going to sample it, like that kind of stuff. Because I think these sorts of things happen a lot. But I was like, well, I'm going to say I'm a curious guy. I'm going to call him up, find out. I'm going to ask the question.
Yeah, they'll be able to pick you out of the lineup, though. Your accent will give you away.
Yeah, it's got to zip it. Can I borrow your beard?
Oh man, this is awesome. I really enjoyed this a lot. This has been a great time. I really hope a lot of the group members take advantage of your generous discount and really does something. Man, I hope we get it here in Kansas, or Missouri at some point. So, ranch water, I think this would be freaking awesome, and I'm going to go make me one.
All right. Well, look, I really appreciate it. This was great fun, and
yes,
laughs, and we're excited to support what you're doing. I think like all the discounts that you're getting for the members of the liquor stores is wonderful, and that's kind of why we wanted to come and sort of be a part of that movement as well. And it's a fun and exciting space with a great
and full disclosure, I'm not getting anything out of this. I'm just trying to help people within the group get good tequilas and bring some of these liquor stores to them. there's been a few that have recently joined. I mean, God, I wish I was in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I mean, that one that popped up, and it's like, man, I hope this guy can ship out of the state because I need some of this stuff that he's got. You guys got some amazing
He's
stuff.
got some good stuff up here. Well, look,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, put a list together. I will do it as a favor to you. I will pop
You'll
over.
be a mule.
Yeah, I'll be the mule.
Yeah, and he had to break my heart and tell me no.
I'll be sending you a very large balsamic vinegar gift set.
barbecue sauce.
Barbecue sauce.
All right, man. If you hang in there with me for 2 seconds, we'll get this wrapped up. And Andrew, thank you very much for joining me this evening. It's been a lot of laughs, and I really enjoyed it a lot.
Appreciate it. Thanks, CJ.
All right. Hey, guys, we're going to finish this up now and stay tuned for the next event.